Hello and welcome everyone to part 2 of this set between dignitasnani and LiquidTLO. Switching straight over to the game, this map is on Zelnaga Caverns, and obviously it is the MLG variety of the map, so there is the supply depot at the bottom of the ramp which just prevents any kind of early wall off cheese. And the two players are dignitasnani as the red Protoss player in the top right, and LiquidTLO as the blue Terran player in the bottom left. Now, as I said in the first game, if you haven't watched it, I mean, go and quickly give that a watch, or just watch this one through and go to the first game and do them in the wrong order. They are just custom games. I believe they're practice matches, but either way, quite standard. And straight away, a pylon going down here for Nani. This is a bit sneaky. Not quite sure what he's going to go with this pylon. It's a very, very early proxy pylon, but not even blocking anything, so will be interesting to see what happens here. May actually be going for a proxy gateway, and I mean, a proxy gateway is going to go down straight away, going to be getting that zealot in super early, and I mean, if he chrono boosts that out, he should be able to get it just when there's about one marine up. So I mean, this could do a lot of damage. Nani just being rather irritating to TLO here, but it will be interesting to see whether TLO can deal with it. Meanwhile, just in Nani's base, he's chrono boosting out probes, not taking any gas. All very, very standard stuff at this point in the game. One refinery now on its way out for TLO, so TLO isn't going for any sort of 2 racks opening, which would allow him to better defend this sort of really, really early pressure. And straight away this probe going in just to see what is going on. Going to harass that SCV as well. And I mean, he wants to delay as much time as possible off of this barracks, because obviously the longer that barracks takes to get up, the more effective his zealot will be. And straight away just harassing the second one. If he does actually manage to get a kill on 2 SCVs, that would just be absolutely incredible. But the barracks does finish, and now the marine already started. Chrono boost on the zealot, so the zealot should be able to get up there pretty much simultaneously with the marine finishing. A second chrono boost straight off, a second zealot queued up as well. So Nani is really, really going for this. And the probe even in there harassing, and now TLO's going to see this. He's going to have to pull all the SCVs, but this zealot should be able to do a lot of damage now. And the probe even getting in on the fray, dying. The poor little probe did all he could. He placed that pylon, he placed that gateway, and just really allowed Nani to go ahead and do some of this harassment. And a great surround there on the zealot by those SCVs, allowing the marine to really deal with it effectively. And TLO has dealt with this incredibly well, taking very, very minimal losses. If we take a quick look, only 3 workers killed by Nani there, and this is really a big investment. I mean, he is going to just keep pumping out zealots, but obviously once this bunker's done, 2 marines already out, a lot of SCVs there ready for repairing and also walling off. But as you can see, Nani just going for this. He's got 2 zealots out, but I mean, there's 3 marines as well. Once that bunker finishes, this will become a lot harder for him to deal with. But straight away, 2 of the marines are going out, and I mean, there's no marines on the field now. Those SCVs are going to get a surround on the zealots, but obviously zealots do quite well versus SCVs, and quite a lot are dying. Nani just focusing down the weaker SCVs as it stands, and straight away just bringing another zealot in. Actually now getting out a stalker, so he must have a gateway down in his base. I would flick off. I'm focusing intensely on this micro of marine and the SCVs. I mean, TLO's not in a good position here. He's 10 food to 22, and I mean, what he initially held very well, I don't think he was prepared for that follow-up, and now 12 workers killed by Nani at this very, very early stage in the game. Meanwhile, Nani just going up, getting this assimilator up, getting his second assimilator up, getting warp gate tech out as well, so he could be warping in, really going in for maximum pressure. This stalker has been forced back. Meanwhile, this gateway just getting out more stalkers, they're all linked together. A factory on its way out now, as well as a reactor, so TLO apparently wanting to go reactor Hellion, which is an unusual response when you've taken so much damage early. Is going to get a second bunker down. May actually just try and go for 3 bunkers, which would help him a lot. And what really amazes me is that TLO didn't just get some more barracks down in order to get this defense really, really sorted. I mean, he knows he's very much behind. He's at half the food of Nani at 6 minutes into the game. Meanwhile, those marines just going straight in there, and again, just going for the reactor Hellions and using that barracks to just complete the wall off. So Nani's going to have some difficulties here. Meanwhile, if we look at Nani's base, he's getting a gateway and a robotics facility, 2 gateways and a robotics facility. So it's going to be a 3-gate robo, 1 base, pretty much all in at this stage. But I mean, obviously Nani's done an awful lot of damage to TLO's mineral line, so that means that early advantage will result in him not actually being too far behind. Now actually getting out these reactor Hellions. Now the Hellions will be relatively effective against any Zealots which are coming up here, but still it is a bit peculiar, and Nani actually looking like he's ready to expand. So Nani going from the proxy gate into the 3-gate robo expand, and meanwhile, I mean, warp gate tech is done, so Nani can really start applying the pressure now, and TLO lifting that barracks just to get those Hellions out. And I mean, the Hellions, if they do manage to get up into Nani's base, could do quite a bit of damage. But I mean, there's a sentry and 2 stalkers here. Warp gates are ready to go, so I mean, by the time these Hellions get up into position, they're not actually going to be able to do very much, just purely because of the force fields and stalker counts. So it'll be interesting to see what TLO does here, and the Hellions are going to come in. If one gets trapped, that could be quite bad, but I mean, none actually going down yet to the force field. 3 more sentries are down, so plenty of force fields for Nani in order to deal with this, and this will force TLO back. Meanwhile, those Marines just coming forward, deciding that having a warp gate outside your base as well as a pylon just isn't good for business. It just doesn't attract people to your facilities. And a command center on its way now for TLO. This factory coming in, getting a tech lab as well as a second barracks on its way. So I said a factory coming in, barracks coming in, landing on the tech lab. And meanwhile, these Hellions just being used for good map control, but Nani now coming in and could be about to do quite a bit of damage. I mean, there's a lot of units here. Obviously, no pylon is there as of yet, and not dragging a probe either with him, so won't be able to get that proxy pylon. But meanwhile, a third gate actually being rebuilt now for Nani. His expansion is down, and just a lot of Hellions. But I mean, with so many stalkers and sentries, these Hellions aren't really going to do much. Not to mention the fact Hellions are awful against buildings at the start, and 2 Hellions are going to get picked off, but it did take quite a lot of force fields by Nani to get to those 2 Hellions. So again, just keeping the sentry energy low is probably the best thing to be doing. A big probe transfer going on here for Nani. Meanwhile, just 2 more barracks are on their way down. That observer is, though, seeing absolutely everything that is going on in the base. Knows about the expansion timing, knows that a bunker's coming down, knows that it's going to be a mass marauder play by the looks of things. So a lot of marauders are going to be coming out, and currently this robotics facility has only been used for the observer. 2 more gateways on the way, so this will be a 5-gate build at the moment, although it'll be interesting to see whether he does get a 6-gate. And if we take a look down here, another tech lab. So literally TLO just going for absolutely mass marauder as we speak. Also getting stim up. So I mean, marauder Hellion all in ish. I mean, he does have this expansion coming down, and marauder Hellion is quite effective. I mean, it's a build, it's an all-in build really for against Zerg TVZ, and it is very, very difficult for Zerg to deal with marauder Hellion, especially if it pushes too early, because basically the only thing that is good against Hellions particularly are either very, very well controlled banelings or roaches. Now, one thing that really, really counters both roaches and banelings are marauders, because one, marauders can soak up a lot of damage from the banelings, and secondly, if they have concussive shells, it just means that they can kite the banelings. And 1 sentry does go down, the 2nd sentry is going to go down now as well for TLO. So that's a good bit of damage TLO has managed to do there. Meanwhile, if we just look in here, Chronoboost going off on all of the bases, and we're going to get a robotics bay as well. So robotics bay and forge on its way for Nani now, and amazingly TLO is actually bringing this back. The food count is significantly more level than it was at certain points in the game. So I mean, really, TLO's done an amazing job to stay in this, considering the fact that he lost 12 drones very, very early on in this game, and still be in is very, very impressive. Obviously, this expansion is just being used to get as much economy going as possible, getting an engineering bay down, as well as the 3rd refinery. A supply drop has been used. The 3rd refinery going down in the main, and now this is a big push coming in for TLO here. Nani was trying to take down those gold rocks, so maybe trying to get a greedy 3rd, but meanwhile, a big push going on here. A scan is on its way down now. There is an Immortal out, so the Immortal will be able to deal with those marauders quite effectively. However, good split on the Hellions. The Hellions are just going to try and snipe off a couple more probes. Meanwhile, those SCVs are going to get through in order to repair. The are in one position trying to flank round. Meanwhile, there's a big engagement of Marauders. A stim did go off there, so I mean, some grey micro going on there. No concussive shells. Meanwhile, head-ins are getting cleaned up at the natural base. Those Immortals are going to do huge damage to the Marauders. One Immortal does go down, and TLO does GG out there. He saw the robotics bay and knows that there wasn't much he could do. So, thank you very much for watching. That was an absolutely brilliant game. A bit counter-ordinary. I mean, I think both players in both games have been doing, well, Nani has been doing somewhat cheesy builds, some might say, with what he did. And TLO dealt with this very, very well. I mean, obviously, a proxy gateway is never fun to deal with, and he did a good job to stay in the game as long as he did. Thank you very much for watching. As you can see, I have got a Twitter account set up. Please follow me on there. It'd be great to get some comments, some interaction with the viewers through Twitter, so give us a shout there. Obviously, if you did enjoy the game, then click subscribe on my YouTube channel, and I will be getting some more games up pretty much daily from now on. So thanks for watching, and tune in again.